Hi everyone, welcome to one of Cindy's public service announcements. I feel like a little bit tired and sun-kissed. I was at like a big, well, not a big, actually it wasn't very big, water park with my son and some friends this morning. Well, no, this afternoon, when it was. And yeah, so I feel like a little bit disheveled and yeah, anyways, so but hey, so you're here, you're like, we don't really care, Cindy. I started tapping into a public service announcement. Actually, I hope my throat holds up because I was screaming as I was going down an inflatable water slide thing. It was fun. They were fun screams. I'm just cleaning up the table too from when I finished. Well, you'll see this. This will come out tonight. My public service announcements always come out right away. But before we went to the water park, I did Aquarius and Pisces. So I'm just actually sitting down here to clean up the table of all the cards because it was Pisces that's sitting here on the table. And when I was in the Aquarius reading, I started to get a public service announcement. And I'm getting good at I can just kind of divert them, kind of make a promise to my guides that I'll come back to it. So that's what I'm doing now, like at the end of the day. And I'm making a promise that I'm going to come back to it. But I thought before I get into the public service announcement that started to come through in the Aquarius reading, I got to tell you guys something I've been meaning to tell you and I keep forgetting. I had a really interesting vision. Yeah, it's got to be a while now because I remember I told my mom about it when I was up there. That's a couple weeks ago now, gosh. Yeah, that's a couple weeks ago now that I was up there for a little vacation. So maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I had a vision. It was really interesting. It's actually one of the first times I've ever had something that I feel like showed me the future. And I feel like showed me the future beyond like my lifetime and your lifetimes, or well, maybe not. You know, if some of you are younger, I don't know. Who knows? Actually, who knows? So anyways, I'm going to tell you about the vision and then we'll get into the public service announcement. So I had this vision. I just suddenly, I don't even remember where I was or what I was doing. It just sort of like kind of started to come over me and I could see, it was a dome, like a clear dome. So what I ended up seeing was like a city. It's a city within a dome, which doesn't seem unusual, right? But I could see like a city within a dome and it was completely contained and it had its own, weather. It created its own weather. And I could see like it was raining, but I could, like inside the dome, it would rain. And then, it would stop. But then I could see beyond the dome. And the thing that really bothered me beyond the dome was, for one thing, the sun seemed intense. It just seemed so bright and so hot. But everything in the dome was nice. It was like very temperate. What is that? The weather was great. So, but on the outside of the dome, there was people living out there, like really not easily. They were not living outside of the dome easily. I don't know why they weren't in the dome. It almost looked like what I would describe as, like a gated community in the dome. So the first thing I thought of, so there's still like this disparity between the wealthy and the poor. Or I don't know why these people were outside of the dome, but it wasn't very nice outside of the dome. And I remember like kind of seeing outside of the dome, it didn't really look like how would they live? I remember thinking that, it looked almost, it wasn't really desert. It was just parched and dusty, really parched and dusty, and hot and hazy. Like it was just, yeah, yucky. It just felt yucky. But in the dome, it was beautiful. It seemed lush. And so anyways, and then at one point, I remember, it's funny, like how I saw things in this. So it's maybe even something for me to consider if I see something or I'm being shown something, how to explore it. It was kind of like when I was learning, when I was much younger, that I was having out-of-body experiences. and I was having difficulty seeing and doing things. And I think I had read in a book of someone who was quite, I guess, skilled at out-of-body experiences. Like, it's not, the harder you try, the less effective it is, because it just is. Like, you just, so I remember the first time I was having an out-of-body experience, and I was the same, like, trying to see something. I was, no, just see it. And I immediately, everything was so clear. It was like, whoa, it's crazy. It's like the harder you tried, the more you couldn't do it. It was because you don't have to try. So you're actually putting a block in front of that vision, right? Being able to see something. It's also like any, if you want to be somewhere, you just back to your body and there you are. But so in this sort of like this vision or whatever is being shown, I thought, how is it? Why is it? Like, I thought, geez, this dome, you think it would magnify the intensity of the sun like a magnifying glass, right? Or, and how are they make the rain? So it was literally like I zoomed in, and I could see that this dome was actually comprised of two layers. And within these two layers that looked like glass, or I don't know what it was, but within these two layers, water was circulating. And it was just like, it was in there. It was filled with water. And there was something about like this layer that was on the innermost side of the dome. So if they wanted it to rain, like it became permeable, I guess. Yeah. Like, and so some of this water would come out. And I mean, like it was something else. This dome was something else. The more kind of questions I asked, or I didn't ask a lot though. I don't know what happened. The dog or the cat or my son or someone probably got my attention, and I was like, okay, that's enough of that. But yeah, it would become suddenly from impermeable to permeable, and the liquid would come out. But yet I just knew instantly that the water was somehow cooling and keeping the temperature of the dome consistent. I don't know if that's possible. I guess maybe if it circulates like even underground and it filters. I don't know how they did it. I don't know all that stuff. I didn't have enough time to ask those questions and see. But I thought it was interesting. I thought, wow, that's quite the dome. And it really gave me the impression that there will be places that will be like that. I certainly hope that's not in my lifetime. I certainly hope it's, also something that maybe would not come true, that we wouldn't need to do that. But anyways, that was that. That's that vision. That's pretty much the wholeness of it. Everything that I kind of saw. I was fascinated when I was allowed to kind of zoom in on the dome and how it was constructed. That there was two like a pocket. I guess that's a better way to explain it. Like a pocket inside there, and there was this clear water that was just running through it. Running through it. So. All right, so I've cleaned up these cards, and I'm going to introduce a deck. It's actually not complete. I started creating this deck. I'm trying to remember what house I was in. I can't remember. That was one house ago. I think it was one house ago. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. I started creating this deck that I'm going to show you. There's actually two. The one, the biggest one, it's not finished yet. I'm probably going to go back to doing that and finishing it. To kind of help with some of the questions here. Although I might, yes, use tarot as well. I'm going to need my glasses to see. So I have, I'll show you the big deck. Oh, there's nothing written on that. Okay, so how far did I get? I know there's just a few with no writing on them. I wonder. Yeah, so I was making a deck of nations. So on the back, it all says like nation. I know they're part of the nation deck. What? Look at that. Scotland, Kenya, Peru, Denmark. I don't know why Denmark. Look at they got all. I was feeling creative that day. Let's do different colors for Denmark. Algeria, Yemen, Australia. I used to have a lot of stamps for Yemen. Angola. Myanmar. Interesting, right? I think I was looking on a map. I don't even know how to say this. What is that? No. So I think at some point I was doing this in alphabetical order. So I'm also going to have to sit down and put this deck back in alphabetical order and then go through the list of nations, sovereign countries, I guess, and continue it. So because this isn't complete, I want to say that if something comes out, it's my first time using this. I don't know if it's going to work. I started because I remember it was when I started getting these public service announcements, I thought it would be useful to have a deck of nations, kind of like narrow some of this shit down if that would help. But I don't know if it works that way, right? Then I got the continents. I think I went with that first. I thought, okay, that could help. Continents and oceans. Oh, did I use the oceans when I was getting the submarine one? Or did I just see that? See, I don't know. Well, there's a continent because I got the oceans. Indian, that must be an ocean. That's the ocean, Asia continent. Africa continent, Atlantic Ocean. Antarctic, Southern Australia continent, South America continent, Pacific Ocean. I think I need more bodies of water. Pacific, Arctic, like there's seas and stuff too that I could probably put in that, right? Yeah. All right. So, I'll tell you what started coming in. Maybe I'll put my glasses on now. The Aquarius reading was a food shortage. So yeah, a food shortage came in. The message started coming into an Aquarius reading. And I'll tell you what I started to see. The details of like what I was shown. It basically how this played out was I saw someone sort of like in an apartment. I saw someone in an apartment. It was a man. I saw a man in an apartment. And he got a message from someone. Like almost, someone who knows what's going on, or someone who's a little bit behind the scenes or has some connections, that there was going to be a food delivery coming in. Now, this is the thing that came in. It felt like chancy. It felt a little bit like a bit of a gamble to go and get this. Why, I don't know. I don't know why it felt like a gamble, but maybe we can try to explore that with the cards. And I'm just going to see if anything comes in. I don't know why. Well, I know why it felt like a gamble, because it was specifically a card. And Aquarius, I think it said gamble or chance. Chance. I think it was chance. And it was like with a roulette wheel. That's interesting. Maybe that's an indication. Maybe that, like, maybe, why would there be a food shortage in Las Vegas? Maybe Nevada. I don't know. I mean, there's other places, right, where there are, so. But that's interesting. It just stopped me for a second there, where I really saw the roulette wheel. I'm thinking, was it trying to tell me something? And this person, the funny thing was, there was another one, a person was taking, it was temptation, the apple, right? But in this vision, it wasn't an apple, it was like bags of grain and rice that were coming, or flour and rice. And so it was very tempting, and it was a bit of a chance. I don't know why. I don't really get why. Like, and as sort of like it kind of unfolded in my mind's eye, I could see like tons of people lined up, right? And I kind of actually, now that I'm continuing with what I saw and talking about it and bringing it kind of back to the forefront of my own memory, it was because there's so many people there. What is the chances of getting something? And it felt like that. And it was food and the chance to get in this line to get some. And it had the feeling of, but it didn't appear to be, okay? It had the feeling of, you know, when you see a war-torn country, or there's some sort of political upheaval going on, and because of that it is very difficult to get resources moved around. People don't even have time. People aren't making food, you know, in nations that are war-torn, and there's political upheavals, or there's struggles for these resources, and they become limited. It just felt like, you know, like the UN or something like that getting together and like getting food there, trying to get food there is what I kept seeing. And this person, like, no, Larry, no, you're not. Stop it. Anyways, trying to get food to this place, and this man was going there. It was a chance, but it was like, most people didn't know about this food delivery coming. Like, I could see a truck, and they opened it up, and there's people like with these bags and bags of food, and trying to give food out to these people. So that's as far as I went with it. Did I even go that far with it in Aquarius? I can't even remember if I said like that much, if I vocalized that much. I think I started to, and then I just kind of like clicked and got back into what their message was, with the cards that were there. And actually, to be honest, I don't remember how much came in for them with those. I was very specific with that. But yeah, so I don't know that this is a worldwide thing, or this is something that's going to happen somewhere. So let's see. I'm going to just try something here. I've never used these before. I don't know how effective it's going to be, or ineffective. But I got my little tiny continents deck. So, do I have everyone here? I guess so. Yeah. Oh wait. What's Greenland a part of? Europe? This is an odd question, but what is it a part of? It's not a continent. No, right? Well, it's been a while, but no. What's Greenland a part of? It must be Europe. But it's so close to Canada, northern Canada. Anyways, well, no, it's not part of North America. So I'm going to try shuffling the continents, and I'm going to see what comes out. I've never shuffled such a tiny deck. This food shortage. What was you showing? Oh my gosh. North America came out. North America came out. Asia's on the bottom, but I don't know if that means anything. Gosh, I wonder if there's going to be, why would there be a food shortage in one U.S. state? You know, I'm just saying that because of the roulette wheel. Let's try shuffling the nation deck and just see. This is a big deck, so... Oh, look! Greenland! Isn't that weird? Maybe there's something to do with Greenland here. Why was I talking about it? It was just like odd. Is Greenland a continent? I don't remember it as a continent. But it must be part of Europe. But why are we talking about Greenland? Maybe there would be a food shortage in Greenland in North America. Finland. That just could be, these two could be, no, well, South Korea. Cameroon. Sri Lanka. No, okay, so it's interesting these two are together. Finland got fancy colors too. Damn, these smell kind of gross. I don't know if it's the paper or the markers that I use. Is there a nation where this food shortage, a nation, the food shortage message? Uganda. It's not even close to North America. I don't know if this works. Maybe there's multiple places. North America, Greenland, Uganda, Belgium. Really, I don't know. Don't quote me on these ones. Haiti, Cuba, Austria. I'm going to go to the tarot. Let's go to the tarot. Can you show me anything about the food shortage? The food shortage message. It's a chance. It's a tempting chance. It's just, I saw this guy, a tempting chance to go get this food. All right. I'm seeing something like a food bank. I'm seeing a food bank. Interesting message. I'm getting some sort of message here about like food banks and you know, I think for the most part anyone can go right now. Anyone can go to a food bank. I'm pretty sure about that, I think, yeah. In most places anyways. Well, I don't know what it's like all over the world. My mom volunteers at a food bank up in her community. I think they just need to know where she is anyways, who's coming in, like how much of what they need. Oh, gosh. Yeah. That's an interesting card that flew out. Because what would... Okay, so this is what I was seeing, was if you're not on the list, you don't get... You can't come in. You can't get food. You have to be on the list. I don't know how you get on the list. I guess you have to meet a certain criteria. But see, check this out. The card that came out, right, it's this Three of Swords card. And look at, he's looking at this book. And it's like the sword, the three swords are in the book. And there's all these letters coming out. Like, to me, it's like names. If your name isn't in the book, you can't get food, or you can't get food that week or something. Again, I'm hoping that this is one of the ones that just doesn't happen. That, you know, I'm just off, you know, but... This is interesting. Now, I'm getting some sort of message here, like, I don't know if this food shortage is something, you know, just to a particular area, or it's more worldwide, but there will be something's going on here where birds will be leaving certain areas. So I'm wondering, does this indicate some sort of period of migration? Is that like an indication of when something like this might be happening, when birds are migrating? Or are the birds leaving at okay, I just heard unusual time. So the birds are leaving at an unusual time. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. I'm hearing like 1, 2, 3, as in like counting years. 1, 2, 3. I'm just kind of waiting to see if you're telling me this is like in 3 years, or this will take place over a 3-year period. I just heard over. So over a 3-year period, it would take place over a 3-year period of food shortage. And if your name isn't in the book, you can't get something. Sand. This place has sand. Sorry, I'm just looking at the letters here, and there's words starting to appear. Juice. Well, maybe these are things that... But yeah, it looked sandy where it was. Like, it looked kind of... You know, it's kind of funny, actually. If I think about it, the environment that played out in my mind that I was seeing where this person was going to this truck to get food kind of reminds me now, actually, when I connect it, which is funny that I talked about them at the same time. The dome. The people that lived outside of the dome. The dome. I wonder if that, like, because I thought a couple of times, oh, I need to make a video and tell them about the dome that I saw. And then I totally forget. And I don't know why I thought of it tonight. But the dome, I wonder if this is something to do with, you know, I mean, there's a lot of cities that have domes, like sporting domes and whatnot. Anything else you can tell me? Yeah, it's food. The card at the bottom. It's an apple tree with a pumpkin at the bottom. It is a food shortage. Oh, I know. I do not like doing these. I keep hearing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So the message that I'm getting now is that this will be significant enough that some people will go hungry. I mean, you know, when you don't get enough food, what happens to people? You know, they pass. Some people are going to go hungry. There's going to be a shift. I don't know if I would describe it as a shift in power, a shift in instability. Places, okay, it doesn't have to be this place, but I'm just, like, it's what I'm, well, maybe it is, because it's what I'm hearing. Like, so like a place like Mongolia, I'm just kind of hearing Mongolia with this card. Like, it's not a place that people would readily think about, right? But it would be the type of place where I feel like they would be less affected. Where you find stability will be places that are more kind of unknown and unseen and under the radar than, you know, places like America or Canada or England or, you know, well, Great Britain or... And there's also going to be... I feel like this is more than just like, you know, this is coming up in the next few months or the next year. This feels like something bigger, this message. Like, it's almost like the beginning, I feel, yeah, the beginning of something bigger that is starting to play out. There's going to be, it's not just the birds who will be migrating, okay? Because you see, right, these birds are changing where they are. And I feel like they're changing where they are because where they would typically find resources to survive, they're not finding that there. So they're moving on, you know, like it's like that. But I also see people moving on. I'm seeing this card is traveling, and there's a boat down here too. Like, people going in different directions for their own different reasons. Oh, is it this person on the boat on the right with the bird is carrying a small child? Like, people are going to be moving around. People are going to be changing locations. And I feel like it has something to do with sort of the stresses and pressures of trying to get to places where resources are more available. Kind of the, I guess the like what I'm saying to me at least feels like this isn't something that plays out in just a few months. This is something that plays out over like, well, 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 years. I'm not sure when it starts. On this card here, to me too, is also the one that I'm seeing like people passing. If you're wondering like why, I'm getting that this card also, this came in with a double message here, like people passing. For some people, yes, it will be a new beginning. They'll be going to different places, kind of starting their lives over again. This Queen of Swords, I mean, it's interesting. I've been sitting with it for a bit to get the message. There's going to be a new religion. Some type of new religion will sort of be born in this period, or it will almost naturally evolve. I seen it as it is a religion actually where there may be like a lot of women leaders in this religion. It feels very spiritual. It could even be like a whole type of a new spiritual consciousness that is also developing at the same time. So, you know, the words that I'm using may not be completely accurate in terms of, you know, what it is that is created. I want to put cards underneath them. This is so interesting. This must be something that takes like generations to complete, or no? There's going to be like a complete mixing of the nationalities and the races. It's going to be a complete mixing. Like, it's the beginning of, how would I describe it? It's almost if, you know, like if you could imagine every race was sort of mixed together, you combined, and then there'd be kind of like one race. Like people would look like this, or some people would have a little bit of this or a little bit of, you know, there would be like slight variance. But there's something coming in here like about the beginning of, like I'm hearing Exodus, and I really do feel like there's going to be a lot of people moving from one place to another. But the shortage of food is what drives this initially. There's a lot of cards here with like flying over the water, taking a boat through the water, in the water. And then, so I'm not showing you these ones. These ones in the order are important. So this one, okay, it's the Six of Wands, but I'm really looking beyond that, and I'm seeing the artwork here. I'm seeing someone who, and it's funny, giving to all of these people that are like, almost like reaching up on the stage, reaching up to the platform to get what it is that she has. And she does, like she's giving a food or some type of resource to people. And then here again, it is like very common to find people on the street in need, like more common than now. Like there's just so much to give to. There's so many people that need. And then like, right, it's playing out to me where, well, this moon is interesting because it's like the divide. That's the divide right there. And it's like this energy that was once separated. These people are separated. They're all like, it's like people moving in to so many different places. And it is literally like this new earth that's being created here. in some ways, I really want to say, like, there's something about this where, I mean, I don't know how easily, how fluidly this would play out, you know, in a practical sense, but it will. It will play out. Um, and like, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And it's as if this would not play out unless there was some sort of catalyst to, we need resources, we need food. The land here, like, it doesn't rain anymore. Like, I'm kind of getting like the birds leave, like things leave. This land is parched. There's nothing here. So people move, right? Like, it's happened before. It still happens now in places. But this feels like in a much greater scale. And I want to say that I really do feel like it is a much greater time than what I would typically read, you know, that this is going to take place, you know, in the next year or so. This feels much more than that. And, you know, necessity, there's a necessity to eat, the necessity to find resources, the necessity to find work. It's like, it is like an exodus. It is a great movement of people. But this will be firstly initiated by a lack of food. But again, as with this moon card, it feels like, you know how, like, now, you know, you can easily say, oh, my background is this nationality, or my mom was this, or my dad was that, or, like, I'm also almost seeing something like projected so far into the future that it literally is. People just recognize themselves as human beings, like, on Earth. Like, there's just, it's very blurry. It becomes very blurry over time where anyone is from, or it's not even that it's not important. Like, that's how I would describe it. Wouldn't even be a topic of a discussion. Nobody would even notice. Nobody would ask. Like, it's not, it's very intriguing, actually. I can't imagine that it wouldn't play out without some form of struggle, conflict for people. But eventually, I honestly feel like it would almost produce like some type of peace. I don't know why I keep hearing Mongolia, but there's something going either Mongolia. There's something in Mongolia or around it to be discovered that will be some sort of wealth or asset, a resource, or there's something that will grow or grows there that will suddenly become like, you know, in demand because it is adaptable to a particular type of climate that may be now common in places where it wasn't before. Like, there's something like that there, or the climate there changes. think that's what I have. I don't know. It's really, not the way I thought the message would kind of go. I didn't really see it. I thought it was going to be something sort of like a little bit more in the very immediate future. I wouldn't discount that in terms of, I feel that there will be some food shortages here, and it might even get to the point where, you know, you got to be on the list. But when I say that, like, if that even exists, I mean, I kind of know it does because my mom volunteers at a food bank, but they know, like, at least, like, I don't know, maybe it is in some places where, you know, you have to bring in, like, your income tax assessment or whatever to show, like, how much money you have or don't have. But as far as I know, like, it's kind of like on an honor system right now. So this is not an honor system, I guess, the way I would describe it, that plays out in this book. It's not an honor system. You have to, like, legitimately get on the list. But like, everything coming in after that, it just feels like so much bigger. I mean, it feels like a larger timeline. But I feel like it's almost like talking about, I feel like what initiates this large timeline happens like in our lifetime. Well, that's what I got. So that's that message. Take it as you will. Again, I hope, I don't even know. I'm actually going to be honest. Like, I feel like some of this, I guess if we start to see some of these things play out, it will be an indicator of what we may know the future far ahead to be, what it would be more like. But yeah, right now, that's what I have with that. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much. Till next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.